is The Data Slice, hosted by the Data Science Alliance. It's where we sit down to talk all things data science, AI, and tech, any way you slice it. I'm Callan Hobman, and joining us today is Castillo. He's the CEO of the Jacobs and Cushman San Diego Food Bank. He took on that role in 2022 after serving in various leadership roles over the course of 14 years with the food bank. So thank you for coming on the podcast to talk all about your experiences. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well, thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, we are really excited to talk with you about your experience working in our community. I know you're involved in all sorts of things. You're also on the Sharp Memorial Hospital Board of Trustees, the San Diego Regional Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors. I'm just reading a list at this point because there's so many things you do. California Association of Food Banks Board of Directors, Finance Committee, and Farm to Family Committee. A busy guy in our community here in San Diego. So before we dive into what I really want to ask you about, how you've seen data science and all of that help our community. First, could you just tell us, what kind of was your background? What led you to where you are now, where you are working in the nonprofit sector? You're really, really involved in your local community.
Yeah, thank you. My nonprofit world spans nearly, or actually more than 2 decades.
Wow.
Been very fortunate in that, and I've worked for and been able to volunteer and participate in lots of nonprofit work. And it's really been a blessing. I've loved every second of it. In graduate school, I was working for a large financial institution, and it allowed me to work with lots of different kinds of companies. And one in particular was a nonprofit that ultimately recruited me to work for them. And really set my trajectory, my path moving forward. So most of that, over 20 years, I spent working as a vice president of administration and a chief financial officer. And as you point out, the last 3 years I've been serving as the CEO of the San Diego Food Bank. So again, lots of great nonprofits, amazing missions. Our mission at the San Diego Food Bank is to provide nutritious food. And I like to add other resources to help people in need. We advocate for the hungry and we educate people about hunger-related issues. Simply put, we feed people and families that are hungry. And we do that through about a dozen programs. We serve and feed infants all the way up to our senior population. We have an amazing model that allows us to do that. We have direct distributions, hundreds of them every month. We work with over 500 nonprofit partners that get food from us and then distribute that food throughout the county. And all of that allows us to reach about 400,000 people per month. So it's a great mission, exciting work, and very rewarding.
Mm-hmm. What was it like for you to become CEO? You've been involved in so many different ways and then kind of became, this even bigger role.
It was different, absolutely. As a chief financial officer, I spent most of the time in the background, and I was okay with that.
Yeah.
I'm very analytical, and I think this is an appropriate topic because I let data drive our decision making. The CEO role is different, but I enjoy it. It allows me to be very strategic and lead in those ways, and really set forward our vision for the organization, which is a pretty grand vision. And these are exciting times at the San Diego Food Bank.
So I know you just mentioned data-driven decisions. So could you talk a little bit more about how have you seen data play a role in the decisions that you and your whole organization make when it comes to, anything that you do, whether it's distributing resources or just overall better helping people?
Yeah, data and data science, and I would say technology in general, mm-hmm. has really been instrumental in the progress of food banks and food banking, really our industry, for over 40 years. I mean, food banking started in the late 70s to early 1980s. And I would say, especially in the last 15 or 20 years, we've seen rapid growth, lots of progress. And I would attribute most of that to data, analyzing data, data science, and new technologies. I mean, it's been pretty amazing. And I've been part of 16 years, as you mentioned, so I've seen a lot of that. It's allowed us to be innovative. It's allowed us, as you point out, to forecast demand Last year, we distributed more than 50 million pounds, which is the second most in our 47-year history.
Wow.
We're going to do more than that this year. It was deliberate because we anticipated need would go up. We think need's going to continue to climb. We use data to help us make those decisions and then get more food out into the community. It has allowed us to scale, like with COVID, overnight, going from serving 300,000 to 600,000. So it's been vital to food banking and food banking growth, and we wouldn't be able to serve the population like we do without it.
Is there a certain type of data or source for data that's the most helpful for you guys?
No, we have so much data, and we try to use all of it. I mean, we have data from our recipients, and as I pointed out, we are serving hundreds of thousands of people every month. We have data from our volunteers. We had 14,000 volunteers that came through both facilities and helped us out in the field last year. We have data from our donors that help us do what we do. We have data from all of our transportation routes. We have nearly 30 vehicles, 200 distribution sites countywide every month. We have data from our nonprofit partners, over 500 of them. We're analyzing all of that to help us meet demand and help us feed more people and feed them better.
Sounds like it's definitely a mix of data, public, private, volunteers, kind of all over the place. And it all kind of comes together to help you guys.
Agreed. I think this is why this DSA project was so exciting because as you just pointed out, we used our internal data. We worked with the other food bank. We worked with other hunger relief organizations. We pulled public data and put that into a dashboard that we could visually see the impact that's going on throughout the county.
Mm-hmm. So like you just said, the predictive dashboard that DSA, Data Science Alliance, the nonprofit that hosts this podcast, has been partnering with your food bank and another one here, Feeding San Diego, for more than a year at this point. What has it been like for you to kind of see that partnership and see data being used to just, better and better serve people?
Yeah. So I got a call a couple of years ago from a former board member, Mitch Mitchell, with SDG&E and Sempra, and he ran this project by me. And then quickly, Dan Shea, who was the CEO of Feeding San Diego back then, reached out to me, and we had a wonderful conversation. He and I were working hard to create a bridge and to find ways to collaborate together. And we were all committed and excited about this project. And we were hoping that it would accomplish a number of things and also complement other applications we were using, both internal and external. And it was able to do that. I mean, the visualization was amazing just to see this mapped out. And then, as you point out, the predictive analysis is huge. It wasn't something that we were using or utilizing in our other applications. So it was a great opportunity. They're still honing that in.
Mm-hmm.
We're getting closer. They're doing great work there. But we think that'll be potentially vital to the work that we do.
I know you mentioned COVID, and I think that's an interesting point. So how have you seen in recent years, especially considering the way the pandemic changed things, how have you seen in recent years data just really help you grow your impact? It sounds like you mentioned some crazy numbers, when COVID first hit. So how has data really increased your kind of overall operation?
Well, I think a good example of that is our North County facility. In fact, last week we hosted our annual open house, and we were able to share with about 200 attendees, these were key stakeholders, that we were integrating our North County food bank into our regional network of services. For us, that means we were renaming the North County Food Bank the Jacobs and Cushman San Diego Food Bank. We were seeing there was confusion out there. We would get questions like, is the North County Food Bank the San Diego Food Bank? Is there an association with it?
Mm-hmm.
Do they offer the same programs, the same services. And we thought if there's that confusion out there, it probably means we're not serving the community as well as we can. We renamed it, again, to streamline those services to drive greater impact. I bring up North County because when we assumed operations in 2015 of the North County Food Bank, that facility was distributing about 500,000 pounds a year. Countywide, throughout that, or not countywide, but in that region alone, the San Diego Food Bank at the time was distributing about 3 million. So 500,000 from the facility, 3 million overall from us. Fast forward 9 years, and a lot of this growth happened during COVID and after COVID. Our facility distributed 7.5 million, went from 500,000 to 7.5 million. And overall in the region, about 12 million from the San Diego Food Bank. There are misconceptions about North County that it is just a wealthy part of the region. But in fact, there are some serious poverty issues in a number of the cities in North County. And so this was deliberate, that growth, we used the data. We wanted to find those underserved populations and then send more food, more product, add more services, create additional programs. And because we were able to do that, again, now we're sending 12 million pounds into that North County region. We know there's more work to be done. We'll continue to look at the data, analyze it, and help us make those decisions. But I anticipate we'll continue to send more and more food to North County.
Do you feel like data has helped not just better serve people, better operate, but also maybe help you guys better educate other people, the general public?
I think awareness is key. And I think when you have a dashboard like the one we created and you can visualize what's going on, I think that's compelling and helpful for people. And I think the other thing that you can do with data is you can really target. And this project with DSA, as well as the other applications that we use, allows us really to look at not just zip code, but really hone into communities, which is where we're going, right? Neighborhoods. That's where it's key. There are lots of changes sometimes throughout zip codes, right? It's not enough just to use a zip code. We're able to get even more granular than that and get into specific streets and neighborhoods. That's where food banking is going. That's fairly new to food banking over the last decade, and it'll allow us to better serve the population.
What is it like as someone who has been in the industry for a while to see those changes, like you just said, just in the past decade, and who knows in the next decade how much this will change? So what's it like to kind of see that evolving?
I think it's exciting. Again, I'm very analytical, and so this kind of, this experience and the journey right now is just kind of thrilling to be a part of. The food bank, the San Diego Food Bank's made a commitment. We've done this over the last couple of years, really to invest in technology. So we've enhanced or replaced almost every application that we use at the food bank, from accounting ERPs to inventory softwares. We have a large database that we use with our nonprofit partners. We have hundreds of nonprofit partners on this platform. It allows our recipients to register. We have their information, allows us to better serve them. I'll use our senior food box program. Our volunteers help us build 16,000 boxes every month. Then our vehicles take those boxes out to about 75 distribution sites to serve the senior population. They receive this 35 to 40 pound box every month. Our seniors register. They're on this platform. That means that we're able to reach out to that senior, remind them about their distribution date. They get a call or an email the day before or the day of. I know I need reminders. I think that's probably helpful to our senior population. We're able to do that because we have this wonderful platform that we share with our nonprofit partners. It allows us to collaborate better, allows us to scale, and then we have this information to help drive decision making and then really meet those recipients where they are and determine what their needs are. Is it food? Do they need diapers? We're also a diaper bank, distributed 9 million diapers last year. We also have a period supply program. Millions of period supplies we were able to distribute last year through about 75 nonprofit partners. All of this is being and decisions about this are being driven by this application and the platform that we all get to use together.
I know you mentioned a lot of this data is about the people, it's their information. Are there steps taken or just considerations that you guys make to ensure their data is protected, kept private and used correctly?
Yeah, there's always going to be challenges with data and data science. Privacy and confidentiality is something that we're always mindful of, and we take seriously. Data integrity is absolutely something that you have to be mindful, especially when you have lots of other participants. I mentioned we have hundreds of nonprofits that are utilizing this platform. And so that is important. And I think that's why it's important to get in there and audit that information on a regular basis to confirm there's data integrity in what you're doing, constant training of your nonprofit partners or any users. So that absolutely goes on. And so those are challenges. Those are challenges that you can overcome. It's a challenge, and those are challenges that any company, whether they're for-profit or nonprofit, anybody using applications, collecting data, those are issues they're going to have to face.
It sounds like the partners that you have played a really big role in your ability to use the data for good. Do you feel like partnerships really make a difference in how you guys work?
I talk about this a lot. It's inherent in our model and in our mission. We have, as I pointed out, about 12 programs. Through those 12 programs, we have about 200 distributions where we load our vehicles up and take the food out into the community. And we reach a lot of people that way. We reach a lot of people also through our nonprofit partners and the people they're serving. Plus, what I love about that model is they are on the ground. They are in the neighborhoods. They understand the needs of those neighborhoods as well as anybody. And so they're able to get the food from us, food that's culturally appropriate, that meets the needs of that population that they're serving. And we serve through that network about 300,000 people a month. So 200,000 to 300,000 people consistently a month. And so this work, I guess what I'm saying is this work would be impossible without those nonprofit partnerships. We actually, earlier this week, held a nonprofit recognition ceremony, our first one in our warehouse, and had several hundred nonprofit partners there to recognize them for the great work they do. Again, it would be impossible without them to reach 400,000 people each month.
Yeah, I was going to say, because 100, that sounds like, or even more than that, that sounds like so many nonprofits. But when you think about how many people we need to reach in San Diego, the numbers make sense.
It's how, it's the only way we're going to be able to solve the problem. It's the only way we're going to be able to reach everybody facing food insecurity in San Diego County. The latest estimate is there are about 800,000 people facing food and nutrition insecurity in San Diego County. Gigantic number. It's about a quarter of San Diego County. I think that's mind-blowing for most people, but it's a reality. And we're feeding, as I point out, lots of people, hundreds of thousands of people, but there's still more work to be done. The way we get there is through collaborations, through partnerships, through data sharing. That's how we're going to solve these big problems.
A lot of the DSA community is students. A lot of our students are data science students pursuing a career with data. But I was wondering if you have ideas or advice for them if they maybe want to use their data science knowledge and expertise to get involved in a way with nonprofits, whether it's the food bank or a nonprofit in general. How can they apply their skills and get involved with organizations like yours?
I think that's a great question. I think this is a very exciting time, especially if you're a student. And I would say this is a growing, this is going to be a growing area. More and more nonprofits are going to invest in this, invest in technology, but also invest in people, specifically data scientists, right? So how to enter, I think, the nonprofit world, I think, is key. And the advice I would give is look for volunteer opportunities. Look for projects like the project we did with DSA. But right now, we're working with students at UCSD. We're working with students at USD. We've worked with students at SDSU previously, and all doing different types of projects for us at the San Diego Food Bank. It could be optimization project like that. It could be a more specific data science project. We're doing all of these things. And again, I think that's why it's exciting, because the more nonprofits do that and enter into that space and invest in that time, the more benefits they're going to see. And then for the student, the relationships, the more relationships they're going to build, right? I think it's key. Find a way to get in, right? Volunteering, I think, is a great way. Help that organization solve a problem or address a need. And then I think the organization is going to see the benefit and will make that a priority in their budgeting and in their future, and hopefully see the data science is going to be ultimately part of that vision, or at least allow them or help them get there.
Mm-hmm. Like we said, lots of growth, so many changes and innovations that we're seeing with data. Are there any specific trends, whether it's the projects you're seeing students get involved with or other nonprofits? Are there trends or changes that you're feeling especially excited or optimistic about?
I think AI is a big trend worldwide. And I think you're going to see a lot of growth in that area. When I say growth, you're going to see a lot of organizations aware, and because of that, invest in AI applications, in AI training, in people that can help them with AI and to implement AI into their organization. I think governance is going to be very important during that time. How do you implement and deploy that throughout an organization? All these are going to be key priorities, I think, in the coming years for most companies, most organizations, hopefully most nonprofits. And I think these students coming out of school with that skill set are going to be huge, because they're going to help fill a gap. But more than that, they're going to be leading these efforts. And so I think there's some real opportunities. But I think AI is going to contribute to the growth of nonprofit work. Nonprofits are known for being lean, right? Sometimes maybe too lean. It is something that we are proud of. We think we're a lean machine. In fact, nonprofits track an expense ratio often in the work that they do. We are typically, we range from 93 cents to 95 cents of every dollar received and then spent is directed towards program-related activities. That's extremely high. Most nonprofits are happy to be in the 80s. We're in the 90s, so that shows how lean we are. Again, I think that can be a problem, though. You don't want to be too lean. But what AI is going to help nonprofits do is become even more efficient, create greater reach, drive greater impact, and when, especially in the nonprofit world, when resources are limited, when that's a challenge, tools like AI are going to be huge.
Are there any challenges that you have seen or maybe expect to see when it comes to implementing AI for nonprofits?
I think it's so relatively new. People are not quite sure how to use it. I think people make a mistake too, that when they think AI, they think of large scale projects. I think I think it's where people should start is really with small daily type activities. Start there, understand that first, and then figure out how to implement into your large data systems, the applications you're using. Most large applications are already trying to work, platforms are trying to work to bring AI into it if it's not already there. So let them do some of that work. You focus on your day-to-day activities and how AI can help you.
It's a good place to start, it seems like. Yeah. Lots of innovations happening all the time. So there's lots to keep track of. I think we're going to keep bringing you back in here, hopefully, so you can let us know how it's going for you. For people who maybe aren't data science or are, but either way, are hoping to support your food bank, just in general, maybe not from the literal data science perspective, but maybe just want to volunteer, donate. Could you talk a little bit about the different ways that just our community in general can support you guys?
Yeah, thank you for that. We try to make it as easy as possible. And there are lots of ways to support the San Diego Food Bank. I'll start with volunteering. We could not do the work that we do without the thousands of volunteers that come in and help us. We're a fiscal year, so ending this last fiscal year in June, we had 88,000 hours of volunteer time.
Wow.
That's how we get to 400,000 people, those amazing volunteers. We have 3 shifts a day at 2 different locations, morning, afternoon, and evening, and we have shifts on Saturday. Our shifts average about 35 people. I promise you, I make this promise all the time. If you come to volunteer, you will not be sorry that you did it. It's hard work sometimes, but you will not be sorry. I think you'll be rewarded. And you'll know that that box that you put together is going to get out into the community and feed a family or a senior within a day or 2. I think that's pretty impactful. We're coming up on the holiday season. You can host a food drive for us. Your company can host it, your school, your civic group. We make that a very easy process. If you physically can't do that for any reason, we have a virtual food drive option. You can share that with family members or your company, relatives, friends, and it's a shopping experience. You go into a store and drag apples or tomatoes through a cash register. Let that tally up, and then you can make that donation, whatever donation you're comfortable making. And then finally, monetary donations for us go a very long way. For every dollar we receive, we can convert to 2 meals. And so you can donate monetarily in lots of ways, and every dollar matters. Visit our website, sandiegofoodbank.org. You'll find all those opportunities, and you can always call me.
And DSA, the team, we've volunteered with you guys on and off, and so I can vouch. A little plug there, I can promise. It's a really great time. Like you said, it feels, you see the impact when you literally are helping pack the food or clean the food or whatever your task is that day. So definitely recommend. And we can link your website in our show notes so that people have a quick, easy access there. Well, thank you so much for telling us all about what it's been like for you, your background with our community in general, and using data, like you said earlier. It's very exciting. It's very interesting to see how data and AI are kind of shaping the way nonprofits like the food bank work. So we really appreciate your insight. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
If you enjoyed this video, give it a like, leave a comment, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and follow the Data Science Alliance on all of your favorite social media platforms. And don't forget that you can support DSA. We are a 501c3 nonprofit that you can donate to. We have annual and monthly memberships. You can volunteer with us or attend our events. We have lots of fun events every single month here at our office in San Diego. So go to our website, datasciencealliance.org, to get involved. Otherwise, we'll see you here next time on The Data Slice.